Hey everyone, this is Lisa from the Rhinestone world, and in this video we are going to be making these cute little French fry Rhinestone and HTV decal. So I'm going to be using this little French fry from our new Cute Foods pack. If you want to see the whole mini pack, it'll be linked in the description below, and if you keep watching to the end, you'll be able to get a coupon code to get this cute design. Here I am at my chalkboard. I'm going to be using this as a brushing station. So I have my different vinyl colors cut already. There was nothing special done about this. I literally just took the file that I had, cut out this main part in black, and this is Caesar's Stretch Easy Weed. The reason why I'm using this is it's a little bit thinner, so it's not as bulky when I go to layer it. And then I have red glitter and gold glitter, which is a nice yellowy gold. So what I did for the bottom is that the eyes are actually knocked out of this bottom one. There's no point in cutting, two black pieces when it's really the same thing. So I'm going to use that. And then here are my 3 templates here. You'll see that each one of these boxes are the same color. So I'm going to start with this smaller design, use that as my base. That way I am not bringing down as much when I go to layer my colors. So these are my eyes. This is going to be in black, so I have SS10 black rhinestones right here. And then I'm just going to use my brush, do gentle circles, and you can't see because I'm using a chalkboard, but they've fallen all into that spot. So we're all good there. We move this to the side, and now we're ready to cut our tape and put this on there. So when we are doing multiple colors of rhinestones, these boxes are always the same size because that is what we use to align our design. And then we also are going to make it a lot longer. This is because we use this as a hinge. So I'm going to hold this over here. So I need to kind of cut a little bit more over there. So I'm going to pull off these templates, put them to the side. And I like to make a really big piece of tape. Some people make theirs smaller, but I want to be super sure I have a lot of space over here to use as a hinge. So I'm just going to pull this off. So my way of doing a hinge is I take one side and I hold it really close to my design, smooth that there, and then drop it. So the hinge is not right here. The hinge is going to be this extra space here. So we're going to super smooth this down, lift it up, and you can see my rhinestones have come up. So now I'm going to take this extra space to pull my tape, and then I like to pretty much take my tape and fold it over onto the side of my board. So there's my first color. Let's go ahead and do my second color. This is going to be red, and I'm going to line up these boxes. This is how we line up our colors, layer them, and you can see you only see blue where these holes are. If we were to see our chalkboard through these holes, then that means we are looking through holes that are on the bottom, which means we have stones sitting on top of each other, which is not what we want. So we're going to dump our SS10 red rhinestones, do a decent amount. Now let's go over here, gently brush these in. And just a note, these are rhinestones that I use pretty consistently. And every now and then I accidentally get another color in here, like right here I have crystal. So I'm just going to pick it out with my hand. It is not intentionally crystal in my design, but I figured it was easier periodically to just pick out a wrong color rhinestone than to get rid of a whole batch because my colors were mixed. So just a little side note, not a big deal. And you can see it didn't really impede my work all that much. So if you do mix a few stones into another color, it's not the end of the world. You can still work with it. All right, let's go ahead. And now I'm just using my brush to make sure there aren't any stones sitting on top or in between my rhinestones. So a lot of times you'll have ones that are kind of like wedged in between 2 colors. Not a big deal. So I'm going to bring these all the way down. Let's lift this up. Hold it tight. So now we have this all set right there. So we're going to smooth this down. So there is our second color. And you can see there is a little bit of gapping in here. That's really not a big deal. Realistically, that's really just because you know, we're trying to fill in this shape with rhinestones, because we have that little background of glitter that we're going to be using, it will cover that up for us. So what I like to do is I like to take off this second template and always stack right back on top of the first one, just to be safe. So we're going to do that. And one thing I noticed over here is because I was using black stones on my chalkboard, I actually was missing one little rhinestone right there. So I'm going to take it and I'm going to just drop one over there real quick before I move on. So I'm just going to grab my tweezers, get a little rhinestone, drop that right here. And smooth it. Okay, so now I have my black rhinestone there. Again, it happens. You know, we're using black rhinestones on top of a black surface, so sometimes you can miss it. All right, so this is my last design or last template. These squares are going to line up on each other. So now we have that on top. So these are my French fries. I'm going to be using light topaz rhinestones. They're like a yellowy gold color, which is going to look really nice with the French fries. So you could use citrine rhinestones as well, which are like a straight yellow. But I don't know, I liked the golden look to this. I thought that they looked really good on top of the gold vinyl. So that's what I'm using them for. So again, gentle circles. And then I'm going to move these things over here. I'm just kind of moving them to the side, bringing them down. All right, so we have these all set, and I'm just separating out my colors. Now, if you're familiar with my videos, my tutorials, I like to clean out my rhinestones as soon as I'm done, but, you know, I thought I'd show you a different method today. So I'm going to keep them totally separate so they don't mix. Now we're going to lift up our tape, and just remember that when you bring your tape down, you want to hold good tension on here. So bring it all the way down, and now we smoothed it over here. So you can see I have some weird spacing right here. Not a big deal. If I wanted to, I can go back and add some rhinestones, but I think it's going to level out pretty easily once I press this onto my Bling Anything material. So let's go ahead, lift this up. All of our little fries have come up. And now I can take my tape, bring this over, and now I'm just going to grab my paper backing that came with my template material. And I'm just going to drop it right on top of there. This keeps it safe until we're ready to press. It also keeps good tension on here when we need to trim this closer for Bling Anything. I can trim that off, reuse this section, and then we're all good. So we're going to go over, get this ready, and we're going to start stacking this on top and pressing it. Alrighty, so we're ready to press. We are going to be making a rhinestone and glitter decal using Bling Anything decal material. So there is a shiny side and a dull side to this. We will be pressing to the shiny side. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to get my first few presses ready. So whenever you press something onto Bling Anything, you don't want your carrier mark to go past the end of the material. Pretty much what that does is it almost melts your whole piece of Bling Anything material, and when you go to lift off your carrier, it'll lift the entire top piece of Bling Anything. So that means your decal's ruined. So you don't want to do that. No one will be happy, and you will ruin your decal. So I have my heat press set to 315 degrees. It's a good middle ground. Typically vinyl is between 310 and 315, and then rhinestones around 335. But because we're pressing onto the Bling Anything and onto vinyl itself, we kind of have a little bit more wiggle room. So as we press our vinyl, we're going to start with short presses. I don't want to press my vinyl for too long. I don't want it to bubble. So I'm going to go over here, use medium to firm pressure, just a couple seconds. I'm going to lift up my press, and while it's up, I'm going to tighten my pressure just a tiny bit. All right, so be careful when you bring this back. The Bling Anything does like to kind of stick to your cover sheet. So we're just going to peel this off. You can see, I'm going to show you in a second, that weird top thing is happening to this. So I'm going to flip this over, lift this up. So look, this whole top sheet came up, and it wasn't because of the carrier, it just kind of stuck to my Teflon cover sheet. So when you do something like this, parchment paper might be a good idea as well. But this is not out of the ordinary. Like this kind of happens, it's okay. And if you notice, I have my cover sheet below and above it because I want to fully protect my press, the bottom and the top, from the Bling Anything. So here's my second color, and what I'm actually going to do is I'm going to press my next two colors together. So I'm going to take my scissors and trim down this carrier a little bit closer. And this is made with a nice black border around the whole thing. So we're going to kind of go from there. So there's our first one. Here's my cute little face. Let's go ahead, trim this closer. And honestly, when we go to press it, if the carrier sheet itself is on top of the other layer, that's totally fine. We just don't want heat transfer vinyl touching the carrier sheet because then the heat transfer vinyl will adhere to the carrier. So right here, there's a teeny tiny overlap, but it's only between the carrier sheets. So here are my two colors. Let's flip this over. I'm going to go ahead and press this for a few seconds just to get this to stay. I'm doing medium to firm pressure again. All right, so when you do this, lift it back slowly because we do have this going on again. So we do have the top part that wants to come up. So I'm going to flip this over and peel it from this direction. All right, so there's our press. Let's go ahead and peel up our carrier. You just want to do it slowly because we're doing short presses. You do run the risk of, you know, maybe your vinyl isn't tacked down just enough, but we got a pretty good chance. Okay, so now we have our rhinestones ready. My hot fix tape does go past my Bling Anything just a tiny bit, so I'm going to trim it closer just to be safe. Let's go right there. And one thing I want to point out, earlier I was saying that there's gaps right here. That's because there's little eyelashes. I forgot about the eyelashes for the little girl. So that is for the black eyelashes that she has. So we're going to line this up. Colors go right on top. And sometimes you may need to kind of like turn it as you go. So the cool thing about something like this is that the rhinestones enhance it, but you do have wiggle room if it's not perfectly aligned, which is always good for me. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I'm going to do a 10-second press at 315 degrees. All right, there's my 10-second press. I'm going to flip this over because I'm sure I'm going to have that weird peeling thing again. Now we're going to gently lift under here. And when you do this, just be careful. It's going to be really hot. All right, so we have this down. Let's peel off our hot fix tape. And it's hot on my hands. So do this slowly. Because we're pressing onto vinyl, it's very possible that a rhinestone may not want to stick. So we're just going to go, okay, I have a couple not sticking. That's no big deal. We're going to go ahead, cover this again, and we're going to press for probably 5 more seconds. And what I'm going to do too is I'm going to turn my pressure up just a tiny bit and increase my pressure. So for something like this, when you're doing a rhinestone and HTV decal, bring up your pressure pretty high because rhinestones don't typically adhere to that textured glitter material or any vinyl for that matter. So you want to make sure your pressure is good so it actually does. And one question that we always get, why are we pressing rhinestones on top of vinyl? Are you not supposed to do that? Technically, no, for apparel. However, because these are decals and they're not going to have the wear and tear of a washer, you have more flexibility. All right, so we have my hot fix tape peeled up. You can see we have my little rhinestones there. And so now all we need to do is just trim this closer because this white part that we pressed to is kind of what makes it the decal, but we don't need it. We're going to trim it closer. And when you do this, you can trim it a little bit closer. I'm just kind of doing more space just so I can get this done faster for you guys. So I'm going to go ahead and finish trimming this, and then I'll show you the final product. Here is my rhinestone French fry decal, because I love French fries. So when we have this back part here, this just has a little backing. This is always the hardest part to get it off. But you can see I can peel this backing off and it will be clear. So we're gonna kind of go from there. And then if you peel it back, you can see that this part here is clear. So it'll be fine when you go to apply it on whatever you're working with. So there we go. We have our glitter rhinestone French fry decal. So we do have this file available on our website. I custom made it for this video so you can purchase it. You can find the link in the description below. Use this coupon code to get 80% off of this file. So if you like this video, don't forget to give us a thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any more videos. And leave a comment below. Let me know what you think. Would you keep a French fry decal on your car, or are you more of a donut type of person? So let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you.